What's up, fam? Extraordinary Life with Elijah. And you're watching this on Sunday, January 14th, 2024 at 10:50 a.m. MST. So I've noticed here in the new year that doesn't roll off the tongue as well as 2023 at 10:50 a.m. MST, but it's all good. We'll get used to it. But here in the new year, so many different insights just from my little girls. I've noticed that a lot of the videos that I've done recently are in relation to my family, but I think that's just because that's the season of life that I'm in back here in 2020. But it's really good to be able to engage these videos again in this time. My girls are like 6 and 8, or 8 and 6 now. Bowden's 4. It's crazy how time flies. I think it's really good for me though to be able to go back, engage these videos, relearn the lessons again. The same principles that I was learning then apply now, and I'm sure being in this stage of life and having older kids, it's often easy to forget the lessons that we learn so poignantly when kids are young. So it's a good reminder for them, but lots of lessons from my kids recently. So today, my girls are my extra and I am the ordinary. Here 3 weeks ago, I did the video on adults in diapers. If you haven't seen that one, go back and watch. I'll put the link up above. But as I've moved forward in considering that's the what, that's kind of the problem, but then what about the how? How do you move people forward in maturity? Well, that's where my girls come into play. Kailani is learning how to feed herself, and I think she makes even bigger messes than Azriel did. I think it could be because I was more of a hovercopter parent with Azriel and had more expendable time to just stay right there and be like, I know this is how you do it, get it up to your mouth. This stage of life, I don't have that luxury of the extra time, and so Kailani's just kind of off on her own, doing her own thing. Man, she just gets after it, but man, there's food all over her bib, all over her face, all over her tray, all over her lap. I think it's fun though to see that while Kailani's making a huge mess and learning how to use her spoon, that Azriel is right there eating her breakfast and doing a great job. No bib. She actually resents a bib if you try to put one on her now, because she does such a great job. And considering that, it's interesting to think about how little kids can't learn how to feed themselves without inviting mess. As a parent, I have to stop and think, this action is going to create a mess, but if I don't allow it, if I don't invite the mess, my child is not going to learn this skill. They're not going to break through. They have to engage the skill to learn it, and it is going to create a mess. The problem is adults in diapers in perpetuity. They're just stuck in diapers and they're still pooping themselves, and parents resent it. We have to deal with this mess again because Mr. Schmautz just constantly pooping his pants and he's 55 years old. There's a problem there. Mr. Schmautz should go see a doctor. But on the other hand, the responsibility comes back to me as a parent, that I have to invite messes. There may be more, but as I think about it, there's 3 main stages to a child learning how to eat. And the first stage is one of personal nutrition being passed to a child, person on person. That as a mother nurses a baby, that there is an intimate connection of a baby on its mother's breast, and that the food, the nourishment is coming directly from the mother. That all milk is solid food transformed by person. That a mother eats steak, carrots, salads, oatmeal, drinks water, and that all of that food, all of the different varying forms of either solid food or liquid, gets combined in the mother's body, and that the mother's body then spits out a singular, uniform food to her baby that the baby can engage and swallow without choking in milk. So all milk is solid food transformed by person. So that first stage is a baby connecting directly to their mother, mouth to breast, receiving nourishment that is specifically formulated by the mother's person. That's stage one. It's very intimate. It's communion. In the second stage, there's a little bit more separation in that there's a continued personal engagement where a parent is, scooping up baby food, pureed peas, pureed carrots, that's still being transformed by a parent and being put into a form that the child can engage without choking, but that the parent is scooping it up and placing it in their child's mouth, sitting there helping them get it in there. That when babies, all of our kids so far, when they've switched from milk over to solid food, that there's this period of time where they want to spit the food out, that the texture is different, the taste is different. So the parent is sitting there ministering to the child's needs by helping get the food into the child's mouth and helping them engage that next stage of food. But there's a bit of separation, that it's not mouth to breast anymore, but that it's child, parent, and that the parent is very personally involved, helping get the food that they're modifying, but not directly by their person substance. They're not making milk, but that they're grinding the food. They're making sure that the food is palatable and won't choke the child, and then placing the food in the child's mouth with a spoon. In the final stage, in the third stage, that there then is a greater separation where the parent is serving the child's needs. The child still can't get their food on their own, but the parent is now allowing the child to spoon up the food and put it in their mouth and learn the discipline of feeding themselves. And in that final stage is where there's that initiation of inviting messes. Here in this process, there's been a new lesson that I've learned, in that Kailani gets frustrated in her process of feeding herself. That as she's eating, while we're having dinner or breakfast, she'll just call out to me and say, Daddy, help me. Daddy, feed me. And she'll take her spoon and hand it towards me and say, Daddy, feed me. It's such a battle because I don't need, that's not the right word. I want my girls to get finished up, especially at breakfast, so that I can get started with the day and start doing work and start doing the things around the house that I need to do. There's that word again, need, want to do. Man, that's such a battle as a parent. And she's handing her spoon towards me and saying, speed this process up. I'm frustrated with this. I don't know how to do it. Here's my spoon. You know what? If you jump over here and feed me, I'm going to eat my breakfast quicker. I'm going to eat my dinner quicker, and we can get on with the next thing. And it's so tempting to run from the mess, to run from the patience, to run from the understanding, to run from the frustration, truly, and just jump in and start feeding her again. Here's the lesson though. As I say, no, Kailani, you need to feed yourself, honey. And sometimes she'll cry and throw a fit or say, I can't do it. But as I stay in, I keep inviting mess, both in myself with frustration and balancing my expectations, and fighting the mess of pulling back in the mess that she's making all over her tray and face and bib. Kailani starts getting more and more hungry. She doesn't eat much food for her dinner. And then at breakfast, she's crazy hungry. And she engages the process with verve, vigor, and much focus because she is hungry. Yep, that's a good lesson to learn. As a parent, when I keep adopting all control of getting the food, from the plate into Kailani's mouth. She's not developing the skill. She's not developing the character and the necessary understanding of life to be able to dip her spoon into her plate and feed herself. And as I, through self-serving motives of avoiding frustration, avoiding mess, and meeting my expectations and making my life easier by controlling the situation, I'm suppressing her hunger. When she reaches a point to where she is hungry enough to throw all frustration and care to the wind, that she's focused on feeding herself because her body is crying out for nutrition, she engages her plate, she engages her process with more passion. Translation to ministry. When I, as a leader, continue to coddle people along, that I don't take the time to help nurture them into listening to their bodies and helping deal with their outputs in a mature way, help potty train them either spiritually, emotionally, or physically. Yeah, that'll play. But also don't invite messes. Take intentional opportunity to invite messes in ministry, and then sit back and pray and allow God to work in me with my frustration, with my expectations, with my laziness, by allowing them to engage the process of feeding themselves spiritually. I suppress the hunger of the people who have been placed under my authority. That as I sit back and say, nope, you got this. No worries, little friend. You're doing a great job. It's okay. It's just a mess. There's grace for that, and we'll clean it up. You're doing okay. You're doing okay. And allow them to go through the dark night of the soul, to learn to rest with Jesus, that they get their sleep with Jesus. He causes them to lie down in green pastures, and they wake up in the morning with Him, and they got a stinking hunger on. And then leadership comes and sets food before them that they've prepared, that meets them at their developmental stage, but sets it down in front of them in correct portions, the portion that they need with the nutrition that they need, regardless of their frustration of, this process is hard and I don't understand how to do it. The hunger that they have will drive them with passion into learning the process of feeding themselves. Isn't that awesome? Oh man. After the stage of adolescence, of nursing from the breast, having food provision that's being transformed by person, intermediary, having personal involvement of having food stuck in their mouths, and then eventually learning how to feed themselves off of food that's placed for them. Once they make that shift into maturity, there begins a new process then where they are learning how to choose the food on their own that their body needs, connected to the skills necessary to get it in their mouth and to nurture their health, their strength, their nutrition with Christ on their own. I hope this insight is an encouragement to you guys and helps you forward in your process of nutrition with Jesus. If you subscribe to what I'm doing, hit the button, hit it, and then get it. Hit the bell as well so you get notified with the new content. And if you loved this video, you didn't just like it, hit the thumbs down button. Pray blessings on our lives together. I love you guys lots, and I'll see you in the next video. You know, I don't even have to say it anymore. I kind of like saying it myself, but you know what comes next. Yep. What's up, fam? Extraordinary Life with Elijah. And today I want to go over the whole process of the elements that are in the video that you guys see over and over. I don't know if you guys picked up on them totally, by now, but I do know that I have had a number of people ask me questions about what are all the elements in your video. Some people send me little screenshots and be like, what is this? Oh, so I want to go over those, invite you into the thought process of what all of those elements are. At the beginning of each video, as I pointed out in last week's video, there's the sound that's connected to my eyes.